So from this stage, once you have opened your clay to the size of vase you intend to produce, first step is to start pulling the clay up to a cylinder, that is to the height of vase you intend to produce. But having in mind that for this vase, I'm going to be compressing the clay to the shape of vase I intend to produce. One of the reasons why potters pull clay or make cylinders before shaping the clay to the size or shape of wheel thrown paste they intend to produce is because once you start either shaping the clay or compressing the clay to the shape you intend to produce on the wheel, the clay begins to shrink down. That is, the size of cylinder, the height of cylinder you have thrown will begin to reduce, not carrying that height you initially drew. So here you see how the clay started to take shape because I started compressing the clay into the shape of vase I had in mind to produce. If you notice my pulling very well, you see that when I was pulling the cylinder, I actually left a certain amount of clay at the top. That is, when throwing elongated forms, you need to leave a certain amount of clay at the top of the thrown piece so that you can use in furthering the elongated form, like pulling the clay upwards. Because first of all, at that point, your hands will no longer be able to enter into the thrown piece because of its size. After you've attained the shape and the height of vase you intend to produce, you give it a final dressing with your fingers and also with the wooden rib too. So if you are still not satisfied with the height of the vase, because you're already having some clay left, you can still pull it up, making sure the elongated forms reaches the peak of what you intend to produce. So once you are done with that, I proceeded to shaping the vase with my wooden rib tool before cutting it out from the wheel. I left it in a board in an open air space for it to set to leather hard, which would then enable me trim it. That was the next day. Then here I made sure it was very centered on the wheel before I started the trimming process. First I started with giving it a full trim. The essence of giving any ceramic ware a full trim is so that when you are glazing the ware or the piece, it doesn't stick to the shelf, the king shelf, and also to ensure its stability. So immediately I was done giving the little vase its full trim, I flipped it over, and due to how I throw most of my wheel thrown pieces, they don't actually need much trimming, just a little touch of trimming, because I love throwing my works to be very light, very light. So the trimming is just all about you giving it a full trim and making sure the walls of the piece is in alignment and consistent. Once I was done trimming the piece, I used a stainless steel rib tool to make sure to blend the walls of the clay, giving it that smooth finishing. And then when I was done, I used my sponge tool again to mop up the base of the work and also the walls of the work. I also love it when immediately after trimming, I sponge up the walls of the clay, but that's my personal preference. That's how I like it. That's it. Here's the final outcome.